to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your money. Listen, it's a Monday and little things are going on, but we're going to roll right through this. This is going to be a really interesting show, so please make sure you stick around. Listen, today we're going to talk about a mother that says now that her 17-year-old son has his first job, he must pay her $500 a month in rent to continue living at home, along with covering his own phone bill. Now, the story has sparked some really strong reactions, including me. Some see it as teaching responsibilities, and others see it as an unnecessary pressure on a teenager who's still in high school. Now, today we're breaking down what this situation really raises about money, parenting, preparation, and where the line is in between teaching financial skills and shifting to adult responsibility too early. Today, I have a beautiful panel of my queens. I'm so glad to be here with them today. We have Marlo, who is our TV producer and journalist. We also have Dominique Morgan, who is a realtor, RN, and coach. We have Tiara Williams, Miss Black Hollywood, producer, vocalist, and all the beautiful things. We have Renee Williams, clinical research strategist. And then you have little old me, Lala, international real estate agents. Hello, queens. How are you today?
Hey.
It's a Monday. It is a Monday, and it feels like a Monday. But, any day you're on this side is a blessed day, so I'm still going to take it as that. Before we actually get into this topic, I kind of want to get an idea of how you guys are feeling. We're all mothers here, right? Everyone here a mother? Yeah, okay. I was a young mother, so I want to first get your thoughts about, did you start your children at a financial teaching early on, or did you wait till they were in their teenage years? Because what we're looking at now is this mother's talking about a 17-year-old, but I think teaching financial responsibility should start a little early. In my house, my son had to put a little bit away from his allowance so that when something big came up, that he could go and get that. So I started him early, just small. So I would like to hear your thoughts on that, Marlo. Did you start your children off a little earlier than 17?
Well, I mean, in terms of saving money, yes. But this sounds like proactive bill paying teaching. It doesn't sound like she's saying, hey, you need to be saving. It sounds like she is teaching this young man about contributing and managing a household and that sort of thing. So I think that those are two separate things. I think teaching your child to plan and be fiscally responsible and save for what they want is very different than having, a payment plan per month.
I agree. I think all of a sudden she flipped on us, but we're definitely going to watch that video because I think it's interesting how she presented it. Dominique, what are your thoughts on this? Did you start your children a little earlier than 17? And what does this kind of feel like to you before you kind of really get into the story?
So I started having conversations with my children earlier. So my oldest is 20. She's in college. So I started having conversations, but in terms of and she worked at Home Depot. She works now at Amazon, but I didn't put those pressures on them. But what I do wish I would have done, if I'm going to take that type of money or take money from them, is just to build something for them later, whether you're there's some kind of goal, instead of, because what I do find is my daughter would have this money and she would just spend it, because it's in her hand. You have nothing to show for it, no savings. So we really had to do more of a deep dive and have those conversations about finances long-term and what that looks like for her.
We got to start them somewhere. I mean, you can't just throw them to the wolves. That's the way I feel. You can't just throw them to the wolves and expect them to have smart stuff, which I got another take on that too as well. Renee, what about you? Did you start early with your children, or did you wait till they were much older, like in their teens?
Well, first, Lala, did you say you're a Leo mom? I just wanted to make sure. Did I pick that up right or not?
Not me. I'm a Pisces.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's Monday, but I have one son. He's 23, but I started off really early because real quick, he was hanging out with some people and he got into a little trouble at, I don't know, let's say 13 or 14. I said, oh, okay, it's time to, you got too much time on your hands. So it's time for you to go out there and get you a little job and get busy and so forth. And also, I'm not paying whatever $200 for the Nike shoes or whatever that you wanted. And so he had to get out there. I'm sorry, Jordans. They were Jordans. So he had to get out there and go to work and make the money. But he felt pretty good when he was able to do that. And, I never kept his money. I let him, when he made it, he went to buy his tennis shoes and have his friends, but he also had something to do. So I do believe in making sure that they work and have something to do to keep themselves busy.
And how about you, Tiara? We know you got that little one, and she actually does a lot in film herself. So, but did you start with her early on this education?
Yeah. It's so funny because just this morning, Lala, we were in the car going to school, and she was like, yeah, my dad says I have to, when I get a job, I got to start paying my own cell phone bill and I got to pay for something else. And I was like, like a part of me was like, "Er." I don't want her to start having those types of responsibilities yet. My daughter has been working since she was 4 years old. And so like just working on television and doing different things. And I feel like there was a point when I'm pretty sure she was working on a show called Hello Jack. And by the end of the season, Lauren had $20,000 in her account, right? And I was like, first of all, she was like, I got my money. But she had worked really hard. I'm talking about 8 to 10 hours a day. This kid every day, we did every day, right? And so I think she knows the value of working, and she doesn't have an issue with working hard. But I didn't want her to feel I don't want her to feel that responsibility yet. I feel like she has all her life to be like worried about paying. So we do allow her to buy things for herself. Today, just on the way to school, she was like, can we stop at Starbucks? I'm feeling like I need a matcha. I was like, she's a California kid, right? So it's all of that. But I kind of let her have it because I know how hard she works, so that's where I draw the balance. It's part of me that's like, no, I don't want her to have to worry about that. Are you there, Lala? All right, Lala is frozen. So I'm going to take over. All right, so let's go to this first video. Let me remove her from the stage, and I'll just wait for her to come back. But let's watch the video and see exactly what she said. It's actually a two-parter, so this should be interesting. So let's take a look at the first video.
Help me around the house with the bills. So I told him starting February.
No,
I told him starting February 1st, he's going to start paying $500 a month. And then he's going to start paying his cell phone. I've been paying his cell phone since he had a cell phone, since he was 7. You paid your phone bill like 2 times. Anyway, parents, do you think he should start paying rent? He feels like he don't have to pay rent. You want to give your part real fast?
I'm 17, bro. What am I paying rent for?
You can't stay nowhere for free. You work.
I know. When I'm 18, I'll figure that out.
No, you're going to figure it out now. $500 a month. I don't care what he say. Either $500 or the door.
Okay, so either 500 or the door. Marlo, what do you think about 500 or the door? How does that make you feel?
500 or the door, I'm not feeling that. I think for 17, he is definitely still in high school, right? And I would say that money is better used for him. Whatever you want to. Sorry, my 17-year-olds are making noise. Just because they know I'm talking, y'all. The dogs want to say hi, guys. Hi, dogs. Okay. I think that her heart is in the right place. Her mind is in the right place. But I think it's a little bit too early for her to be jumping on you need to pay bills. I understand what she's doing because as a man, he can't live anywhere free. But I think 17, he should be worried about taking care of his high school things. Maybe cell phone, maybe.
What about you, Dominique? What do you think? Is it this way or the door?
No, absolutely not. First of all, he's 17. He's in high school. If we're talking about breaking generational curses and doing things differently, we want to position our kids for success so that when they leave, they don't have to come back. if he's 17, he may be going to college or trade school. I don't see the harm in supporting him as he, seeks his, his dreams and his aspirations, as opposed to putting adult pressures on him, because those things really hold you back. Because now you're thinking about, I got to make $500 instead of focusing on school. Now I have to work. What if you go through a period of time where you're in college or he's in high school and he's trying to do something, but he can't do something fun as a child because he has to work, because you're making him feel like he's an adult. Now I can see if he's not doing anything with his life and he's just laying around, but he's in school. He's probably going to go to college. Why put those type of responsibilities on kids that young? Like, why do that to him? You can teach him how to be responsible without putting adult pressures on him early, or on children in general early on. So I just don't agree with that. It actually makes me sad. And I know as a child, like, he's joking about it, but I know that may make him feel a certain kind of way, because it's like, man, he's like, I'm 17. He's 17. Right. So I don't agree with it.
Right. That can't help. I can't help but to think, like, where's the father? Because this feels like very much like single mother vibes, where it's like, he gonna be responsible and help me around this house because now he gotta contribute. It's like, girl. What do you think, Dominique? Is it? I mean, I'm sorry. What do you think about it, Renee? Is it $500 or the highway?
Never. He always can come home whenever, he feels that he needs to. But, I make sure that I put him in a position, or he feels safe enough to do what he needs to do. But if something falls back, he can come back, because guess what? That's what my parents did for me. And I think that when we put pressure on children that young, it's not fair. It's not right. What they need is to feel secure enough to go out there and get it, and that they can fall or they can fall with their family and they can still be supported. And then they'll become a better person. And matter of fact, because they know that, they'll even strive a little bit even better, I believe, because they don't feel that pressure.
Yeah, I agree. Marlo, I mean, is it giving you single mom vibes? Like, how do you think that women, how do you feel about when women do these types of things and put this type of pressure? It makes me think of when Black women, and I'm gonna just say Black women in particular, because we are all Black women, but Black women use their children as boyfriends or husbands or as mates. So how, that's what type of vibe it gives me. But what do you think about that?
Definitely my least favorite action from women, especially a young mother. She also gives me young mother vibes, right? Like, you could tell kind of their banter that they've kind of grown up together, right? She's the mom, but she seems like she may have been young when she had him. And that seems like the kind of vibe that they have. And I just feel like it's so unfortunate when there is an absence of a man in the home, and the immediate reaction from the matriarch of the home is to say, oh, you're the man now. I think this has been going on in particularly Black families, probably a lot of families, but my experience mostly is with Black families, and we all Black here, so that's what we're talking about. But I think that it is something that generationally we all have known. Right? Everybody has a granny or an auntie or somebody who had an adult male living in the house until they both were old and gray. And so I think that whole idea of kind of supplementing the male role in the house with the son is, it's not good. I don't like it. Your son is not your man. He's not your boyfriend. He's not a substitute husband. He is your son. You're supposed to be guiding him, and you're really supposed to be preparing him to go out in the world and be a good father, be a good husband, be a good partner to somebody if that's what he chooses to do. So, I am not down with my son is my boyfriend, my son is my husband. No, ma'am, he is not. He is your son. He is your offspring. He is not your life partner. Let him go and help guide him, so that he is not, a bummy man that we talk about on another show later in some weeks.
Yeah. Dominique, that brings me to, because you're a married queen, right? And I'm sure as your kids were growing up, you have 2 children? Did you say you have 2? As your kids, is one of them a boy?
Yeah, I have a boy and a girl. My youngest is a boy.
Okay. And as you've been growing, as he's been growing, did you guys have conversations about what ways that you were going to enforce, like the idea of giving him and or them responsibility? And what did that look like in your household?
So for me, in terms of my children, I was actually raised by a male majority of my life. So my mindset is a little, not even a mindset different. It's just what I'm accustomed to. So men are typically not as emotional.
Mm-hmm.
They allow you to be independent. You have to learn from your mistakes. And so we just have these conversations because of course I don't want a deadbeat son in terms of like as he grows up, but he's also a kid. So having that fine line and saying, hey, and I even think when we're thinking about this situation, she could have encountered a deadbeat man and she was like, my son will never, when they're not the same. And so you have to look at things, you have to be able to separate it, right? This is your son. Like Marlo said, this is not my man. And
Mm-hmm.
so having those conversations, and even like with my son, having expectations, like I expect for you to be a good human being. I
Mm-hmm.
expect for you to care for me as your mother. I walk through a door and he's there. I'm not touching the door. So I expect those type of things, but it's in due time.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting him to pay bills, right? I'm not expecting him to pay rent. And
Yeah.
he's been privileged to be in a household with both myself and his father. And even when it comes to certain things, I allow my husband, like sometimes, you're like, oh, that's a little rough. But no, it's not hurting him. Okay, yeah, you may have to put something together, put the door together, put, the cabinet together. It's not hurting them, it's actually teaching them. So having those conversations without being overly emotional. And I know it's kind of hard for us because we are women and we are more emotional. And boys are our hearts, right? Boys are more so for the mamas, girls are for the daddies. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But being realistic too about where the children are, what they're doing. If they're in school again and they're doing well and they have dreams, goals, and aspirations, our job is to support them as parents, not just throw them out there. Like I'm also a parent that doesn't believe in throwing kids out at 18. If you
Mm-hmm.
need to come back home after college, let's talk about the plan. What
Mm-hmm.
do you plan on doing? And how can I support you? And these are the expectations, but not throwing our kids out there because throwing them out there sets them up for failure. Now
Mm-hmm.
they're coming back. If you set them up correctly, they're not coming back. If you're having these conversations without putting adult responsibilities on them, you set children up to be more successful long term. Then they're 9 times out of 10, they're not coming home because you positioned them well.
Absolutely. I love that. Renee, you are married. You are married?
Recently.
Recently married. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Got it.
When you were raising your son, was his father there with you? Was it a
It was a split household.
it was a
He yes. So I
did
was a single mom for the most part, but of course, he goes to dad's on the weekends, blah blah blah.
correct, correct. So how did that change your approach to how you kind of ran things and gave him responsibilities in the house? Like with you being obviously you can call his dad and be like, listen, you need to come get your kid, right? Because he's doing the
Right,
most.
right,
But
exactly.
but what sometimes in our when it is co-parenting situations, we do find like we create a culture in our homes for our children that is not what happens at the other parent's house. So how did you kind of like balance that? Raising him and kind of enforcing certain things.
Well, what I do, like Dominique, it's all about conversation and communication. Just constantly talking with him, and then also showing him. Of course, like I stand there and I let him open the door for me. Now, as he's getting older, now people are like, who raised you? Blah 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 blah. Back the Southern type of things that he does as a man. He's 23 now, so.
Yeah.
And one thing I said to him, and it is true, I said, don't you forget, your mama is Black, and there's a certain respect that I command of you as being your mother, and the things that I've gone through, our history we've gone through. And I started him off reading, understanding where we've come from and what has happened to set us in to have these types of divisions and whatnot. And I think that's very important to get them to read and know where they come from and why things are happening. And what I'm coming from as a Black mother. And that helped him. I believe it helped him become more productive, because I've had some men that I felt like they're ATM machines, and they mama did. Anyway, I'm gonna let that go.
We definitely will talk. We will explore that. But I want to hop in this second video, because she actually had a response, right? So she went viral, and people was like, "You're tripping. Like, don't do that. Set him up the right way. Don't make your son responsible in this way for your bills. That's your responsibility." And she has something to say about it. So let me load the video, because it kicked me out of the studio. So let me load it.
A lot of y'all in these comments saying you wouldn't charge your children rent. It's a lot of y'all tagging them. I'm not even upset with you, but guess what? I'm charging. I need my money. I need my $500. Guess what? These kids will go out here and spend $500 on Gucci shoes, $300 on Jordans, $200 on jeans, sometimes $300, $100 on t-shirts, sometimes t-shirts we talking about, $200 on t-shirts. My friend is a store owner. He owns a clothing store. You know what he told me the other day? These kids will come in here and spend their last dollar on these clothes. They don't care how much the clothes cost. Guess what? I need my money first before you go and spend it all on something else. I need my money. Guess what? These kids will order Uber Eats faster than anything in this world. These kids will order Ubers. They pay to get in parties. They do what they want. I need my money now.
Okay, so she's absolutely, with a teenage daughter, she's absolutely right, right? But I think that she's missing something. And you're the guy, you're the one, you're the guy, you're the guidance, ma'am. You're the one that's supposed to be saying, hey, don't spend your money this way, do this. But like Marlo said, maybe you don't know, and you can't teach what you don't know. Dominique, what do you think about what she just said?
I mean, kids are going to be kids first and foremost, right? I have kids. I have older kids, and they do spend that. But again, I just think that it's important to have conversations. And you're mad because he can spend his money on doing fun stuff as a kid, and you have to be responsible. So you like, nah, run me my money, because I'm not about to be struggling and you buying Gucci. No, you have to figure something out as an adult. And again, have conversations about how we're going to spend this money. You know, like, you want to be responsible. You can have fun and you can buy things, but let's think about putting some money in a high yielding savings account. You know, maybe putting up a percentage here and just having those conversations to teach them responsibility, because at the end of the day, she's going to create a wedge between her and her child, because he's going to eventually resent you, because it seems like she seems like she's a little jealous in a sense that she has these responsibilities. And as a kid doing kid stuff, you're mad that they can go. I talk to the people in the store. That's what they all do. They really do that. And so, and as adults, we really have to pay bills. This is real life. But again, having these conversations and saying, hey, maybe you should do your money this way, because at a certain point, yes, we are mothers, but we become mommy consultants, right? Mm-hmm. We're in the home with the children, and eventually they go away. I tell my daughter all the time that's 20, I'm mommy consultant, right? I'm going to give my recommendation, but ultimately you're going to make the decision for your life. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to control and trying to dictate. And now the funny part about it is my daughter she will send me stuff and say, hey, mom, put this up for me. Or, hey, mom, I'm trying to do this. Or, hey, mom, this is my goal. We never bought our car, because part of us buying a car was for you to put up a certain amount of money towards the car, because I feel like you have to have some skin in the game. You take better care of what you put money towards. So if you put up a certain amount of money, you're working, then we can help you get a car. She never did that. So guess what? That luxury of having a car, you didn't get because you didn't put forth that effort. So put things in place like that, but not charging a child that's 17, that's still in high school, money to live is just ridiculous to me. Like, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, again, I had a conversation with my daughter this morning, and I was telling her, when I was her age, I just always been this way, right? Like, in terms of being a hustler, like, I come, not a hustler, but entrepreneurial entrepreneurial minded. So when I was 7, I didn't understand it, but I was like, we can start a babysitters club. And my cousin was like, okay. And what we would do is knock on people's door and say, hi. I had a little script. Hi, my name is Tiara, and this is my cousin Marquise. Marquise would be like, we were 7 years old trying to, one week, it was like, and if you want me to watch your child, it'll be $10 for the hour or whatever I was charging. But that was at 7. And so, and then I think at 8, I had a lemonade stand. So when I was having a conversation with my daughter this morning, I said, I'm always thinking, and she makes fun of me. I'm like, maybe next year you can start a mobile gift wrapping, or maybe we can go to Sam's Club and buy Gatorades and chips and take it to soccer games. And you can just be outside using all your charm and selling things. Just trying to get her to think like, you can take money that you make and then, and make more money, so she could even do that, take that $500 and put it into a business, put it like, start to think about the things that you want to do. So that was my challenge to my daughter this morning. I was like, think about what you can do with your hands. Like she wants to do lashes and hair and all of that stuff. I said, okay, well, we can do that. We're not there yet, but what can you do now with your hands, just to a couple hours a day, just to make some money? What's that? And she was like, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I said, okay, think about it. But I would say that to the same, that's how that's what we do in my house. Renee, what about you? Like, did you have to have these kind of conversations with your son, or did you have entrepreneurial conversations with your son, or, how were you having those conversations as he was growing?
Most definitely. Working in corporate opened my eyes along, to be able, I keep saying to him, that's great. Now, you finished college and now you're working your little corporate job, but I want you to move towards entrepreneurship. And, I talked to him about that. And I have to say also, I evolved as he was evolving. I wish I would have had conversations about saving money and the principles of that. First, out of everything else of the conversations, I really wish I would have said that. But now he is being he's responsible, he's doing things, but I think I wished I had those conversations earlier in his life, to just set him up a little bit better.
Yeah. Marlo, what about you? This is my sister friend, right? Like I know her children. I love her children. Wondering like how you were having conversations with your son, compared to how you're having conversations with Jade right at this moment. So how are you having conversations with him versus your 15-year-old?
So the conversations with him were more along the lines of, protect your credit, like the mistakes that we had made as young parents, right? And the things that nobody told us, we were giving him that game, right? So protect your credit, make sure that, you always have an extra stream of money coming from somewhere, figure out what your talents are. I'm not a pushy mom, right? I'm not an overbearing mom. I feel like my job as a mom is not to make sure you don't fall. It's to make sure that you got the gumption to get up, right? That's how I see my role. So I'm not a very overly involved in the decisions. I love what Dominique said about, being a mommy consultant, right? Like that's where I am. My oldest is 30, my youngest is 15, or yeah, she'll be 16 this year. So there's a huge learning me gap in between the oldest and the youngest. So my conversations with all three of my children have been very different. I will say though, in terms of this mom and her being so pressed about what he's spending his money on, also that's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of what you value. It's a reflection of your value system, right? Yeah. And so I think that there's always space for a conversation. And so instead of you being raw because he out here buying $300 this and $100 that and $200 that because your friend at the store said so, maybe the conversation should be around things that have longevity and value and things that are impulsive and don't have longevity, right? That $100 t-shirt, there's going to be another flock of $100 t-shirts that come out next spring, and they're going to be totally different. And for the people that are in fashion, you're going to be out of style, right? So I think having conversations about what matters, what your values are, those conversations to me go a long way in parenting, because it helps kids understand that what the world is telling them that they need to have, what the world is showing them that they are less than because they don't have, it really doesn't matter, because foundationally they know who they are. And so I just think, I wish parents wholesale, all of us, right, look at what we value and look at how we portray that value to our kids, and then think twice about how we move, because you can't be mad because he's spending his money how he want to spend it. How are you spending your money? When you have an extra $20, you done paid all your bills, you looking back, you got $75, do you DoorDash? Are you going to McDonald's instead of cooking in the kitchen? Like, you know, what is it
That's right.
that you're doing as a person, as a parent, to show and model behavior? Because that's all kids do. Kids just model the behavior that is around them. If it's positive, that's what you're gonna see. If it's negative, that's what you're gonna see. Like, you can always tell who is at the house by the
Yeah.
behavior of the children when they're outside.
Yeah, you know what's so interesting too, and Dominique, I'm coming to you, and then I'm gonna and Renee, and then I'm gonna play the next video. But when I was in high school, and I had jobs, I worked at TJ Maxx, I worked in a Nike store, I did all kind of in college, I worked. Um, and I bought things, right? Like it, people were walking up. The 90s was crazy. For in early 2000s, you had to be fashionable, right? Like when I got to college, I wore heels every day just because of what I saw, right? It was like Jabos and Tommy Hilfiger and Nautica and all the things like, and then when I went to college, it was like, based on what I was watching, and we can even have a conversation about the influence of television. I remember I seen Beyonce with some Manolo Blahnik boots on, and me and my girlfriend with Jay-Z, and I went out and bought some, right? Like put it on my credit card that I just got. They just gave it to me. But I was fly at school, but I didn't understand, right? So like you said, even if you're at home and you see people spending money, you see your parents or whoever your guardian spending money, and they're not saying anything about the way you spend your money, right? Like they're not saying don't do this. You just spending money. Everybody's spending money, and it's cool. In high school I spent money too, right, on all the things, but nobody tried to say like, oh, you got to pay rent in here. So Dominique, what do you say about that, right? Like, did you, when you were coming up, did you have that rearing? Were they having conversations with you, or were you like me, influenced by hip hop and going out and buying all the things? Like, what was that like?
So for me, I didn't buy all the things because I'm not a things person, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not name brands and stuff like that doesn't do anything for me. And
Yeah.
I just think it just depends on the individual. Now, my 20-year-old, she had Gucci on her back to school list in high school, total
Yeah.
opposite. My husband, he's into those things. I like
Mhm.
experiences. Also, when
Mhm.
I was coming up, I worked to literally to take care of myself. We didn't
Mhm.
have the money. My dad didn't have the money. It was 4 children in the household, 2 adults. We didn't have those luxuries. So we literally worked to provide our basic needs. So
Mhm.
we didn't have those options. So we were working early. I think I had my first job at Burger King at 14. I
Mhm.
kind of told a story about my age, and I got in there because I wanted to work.
Mhm.
I am about the coins. I'm a Capricorn. I
Yeah.
want the money. I don't want to rely on people. I don't. And when I seen, my dad struggling, to take care of us, we got stuff on income tax time. So we may get, some gym shoes during income tax. But when we grew up, we didn't have it. We had
Yeah.
experiences. We had great times. We have great memories, but we didn't have those things. And so it pushed us to work. So all of my siblings worked early.
Mhm.
Everybody had a job because we needed to. And once we got a job, it was like, and to be honest, once we got the job, it was almost like a relief for my dad. Like, okay, I could take some of this pressure off of me because they're buying their school supplies, they're buying their
Mhm.
school clothes. And then when you're working to pay for your basic needs, your mindset is different, right?
Mhm.
Because you're thinking about it like, okay, I got this, I'm working, I'm making what, $5 an hour at the time. So I get this check that's $200. You think I'm gonna spend my whole check on one pair of shoes? No,
Mhm.
because it's like, okay, I got to figure out how to make this work. So the mentality was different anyway. Our kids are privileged because we are in better positions than our parents
Yeah.
were. So
Yeah.
the hustle and bustle and the struggle that our parents had to deal with, our kids do not know nothing about that at all
Yeah.
whatsoever. One thing I always say, Christmas is like a thorn in my side. because our kids get stuff year round just because, right?
Yeah.
And then you get one day of the year that we're gonna do extra again, when they can just say, okay, I want this game. And we're gonna figure out how to make that happen, because our kids are positioned differently. So even when we're thinking about this, the young lady, she was able to give her son something different, and so his mindset is different. They're not thinking about responsibility. He's not thinking about how to take care of stuff and getting your school supplies and getting your clothes, because we have positioned our kids totally different. So the conversations need to be different. And again, like Marlo say, it's what you show your children. My daughter seen my husband get into he loves all the things, and she loves all the things. Like, she comes up with stuff, and I'm like, how did you know about that? And I don't know nothing about any of the things. It's just, if I like it, I like it. But then sometimes I'm a price tag person. If I see that price tag, I'm like, oh no, what? $2 where? No, I'm not doing it. I'd rather be on an island. I'd rather do something like that, or have some kind of experience. And it's just based on what drives you. And so again, we go back to having these conversations and even talk to our children about what we come from. So I always tell my daughter, and my son, it was different for us growing up. You guys are positioned differently than us. And I'm grateful that they are. But we also have to tell them and have conversations about where we came from, the struggles we had. And we don't want y'all to go back there, because if we don't clean stuff up in a sense and have these real conversations, they will end up going back to what our parents were. So I just believe we just got to have the conversations, and tell them our stories, and then tell them the reason why we're pushing for certain things. So in terms of my daughter, I would say, hey, if she came home from school and she's trying to do something, hey, give me 45% of your check. I don't want your money. Maybe, look, I'm a real estate agent, right? I want to position you. So let's save a certain amount of money so I can help you get doors, so that you can start building your portfolio, so you have another stream of income, so you can work your job. You can have your 401k, but you also have a portfolio of properties. So just thinking about it differently and taking it from a different perspective, not taking your money to pay my bills that I'm going to have to pay whether you're here or not.
That's right. That's right. Renee, before I run this next video, were you I really quickly, right? Because that was healthy. That was a healthy answer. So I want to get to this next video. But were you that way as well? Did you have were you a things girl, or were you what was your thing?
Same as Dominique. I have the same path. I was raised by a man. So I was not into the things, the heels and all that. I'm into experiences. And we need to talk about this real estate. So my son, because he wants to do real estate. So yeah, I exact same principles.
I love that. Marlo, Jabos and G-Nikes, what was you doing?
You already know where I'm from. I was wearing all the things. If it was a hairstyle, if it was a gold chain, if it had my name in it, on it, I was into all of it. Total waste of time and money. But it was also an experience. So
I was as I've gotten older, it's been experiences. But let me tell you something. In the early 2000s, you couldn't walk down Canal Street without seeing everybody in Burberry and Jabos and G-Nikes, which are Air Force Ones. And I mean, it was just a fashion show. Huh?
Overdressed for the butt.
That's what it was. And so you wanted to look good. You were impressionable. You wanted to look good for sure. So let me go to this next video, but absolutely. All right, here we go. Let's get.
Bills, that shit should not be a debate. I do not feel like teenagers should have to pay any kind of rent just because they have a job. Because when y'all got that place in y'all name. So all of them bills are your responsibilities. Y'all be sitting over here getting mad at y'all kids because they don't want to give y'all money for rent, but it is not their responsibility. I feel like when kids get a job, they should be saving towards leaving. That should be money that they should be stacking up. Y'all be so quick to take money out of y'all kids' pockets. It be the same thing when y'all kids get money for their birthdays, and then y'all tell y'all kids, oh, let me hold it. And then instead of giving it back, y'all spend that shit. I feel like, yeah, kids should have some kind of responsibility. Maybe paying a phone bill. But at the end of the day, they still children. It is not their responsibilities to pay for anything just because you're behind in your bills. I just seen this video about this lady saying she made her 17-year-old child pay rent. And she said, if you're bringing that money into my house, then she said you should be responsible for paying any bills in this house. But making your child pay $500 in rent, that shit is mind-boggling. Y'all be wanting y'all kids to grow up so fast and then be mad when they talk back. Y'all love saying stay in a child place, but y'all giving them grown adult responsibilities. Now I feel like if I'm a child and I'm paying any kind of rent, oh baby, I'm about to be making rules up in this bitch. Like, you're not about to tell me what to do and when to do it. Baby, I pay bills here. Y'all be so quick to say, I pay all the bills. Nah, baby, I pay half the bills too. So don't be looking crazy when your kids start talking back and feeling like they grown. Like, let these kids stack up their money. So when it's time for them to leave, they'll have money saved up.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I agree with that 100%. You know, it's such a hard balance because Dominique, you brought up something, and you brought up something that I struggle with, right? Where we have these children that are just raised differently. Like there was in high school, I wasn't going to get Starbucks before class and going, you know what I mean? Like Lauren be doing the most, right? Like, but there's a part of me that's dare I say I'm proud that she's able to just like have a softer experience than I had, right? And so when you don't grow up with, you want to shower is with like, how do you guys find the balance between showering them with some things, or at least like the pleasures of life, but also giving them that grit? In what way? And in the way that we've kind of given her grit is that she works in Hollywood. It's not easy to work in the business, right? You know, you got to be on set all day. So that's how we kind of grit her up. And she goes to school, and her program goes from 8 in the morning to 4:30 in the evening. Like, so and then she has, so we, you know, I'm encouraging her to get straight A's this quarter. We'll see. But you know, that is how we try to build the grit. Marlo, how do you build grit with how did you build grit with your children?
I think the other ones worked, right? My son worked in high school, but he was in all advanced classes. So his grit came from the rigor of his courses, right? And the expectation that he would do well in those courses. My middle daughter is very artistic. She was actually in a citywide band. And so her grit came from her natural competitive nature, right? She wanted to be first chair so bad. She didn't want to be in the band. And then 6 months into the band, she was fighting for first chair. So I think the grit comes from you pushing your kids, right? My youngest is 15, a cheerleader. She's an honor student. And the grit comes from you want to do these things, right? And so she has it in her mind, no conflict, because I'm a student athlete, right? I got something to lose. She trips me out every time she says it. She's like, I'm a student athlete. I can't be in the mix with all of this stuff. And I'm glad that she in her, right? It's not us pushing this onto her, but she has decided in her mind that the path that she's on, she needs to be focused and she needs to work hard so that she can continue to have that student athlete vibe that she has. And she enjoys saying it. She wants to be an attorney. And it just is rigor, right? Everything is hard work. Learning, you're co-captain on the team, learning how to manage your friends is work. Learning how to be a leader is work. All of this is contributing to her young adulthood and what she'll see as she's an adult. And so it is just shaping those experiences. No experience that she has is just an experience in the win. Even when she has little conflict with her friends, we sit down and we talk about that. What does it look like? What did you do? What did you say? Oh, well, this is what I think. I would advise you to do this. But of course, it's your decision. Like, there are no babies in this house, right? Everybody gets talked to on a collegiate academic level where everybody is being spoken to in an adult way with respect, because she is a kid. She's going to be an adult. Our kids, all of our kids will be adults much longer than they're going to be children. And they need to be prepared for an adult world.
Absolutely. Renee, how did you build the grit in your son?
The grit came through his education and through his grades. So as long as he did well, I didn't have a problem with what he did. And then also he went to work. He started work at 16 at a rolling skating place. So, you know, combination of balancing his education and going to work helped him become a better person. So when he got into college, he worked, but then that last year he couldn't work, and I had the money to make sure that he can fall back and take care of what he needed to do. So that's where the grit comes in, being there and being able to balance when he does need it.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And not being like, you gotta work, you better figure it out. Because I think that's what I hear too. When I hear this video of this young lady saying, well, you better figure it out because you're gonna have to, like it's that I'm trying to push you out the nest, tough love conversation. And I get it, right? I think I saw Anonymous. Hey, Anonymous. I saw him when he first came in the room. He said, mother charges 17-year-old son $500 for rent. He said, good, right? But that's a man speaking like the good. That's good for him. It'll give him some grit, give him some hair on his chest or whatever. But I don't know. I think there's a balance. What about you, Dominique? How did you give your children grit?
For us, it's just not saying yes to everything. Even if you're capable of doing it, saying no, teaching them how to figure it out. So like my son, he started a lawn care business. He wanted he wanted his own money. I'm not paying for video games. I'm not doing certain things. Can I? Yes. But will I? No. You have to put forth you have to work for some of the things that we're taking care of all of your needs. We're taking care of those. So we're not gonna obligate ourselves to say yes to every single thing that you want. And so some of that grit came even with our daughter is just saying no. Like, no, yeah, we can do it. And in their mind, they're like, you can do it. We can, but we're not. No, what are you gonna do to figure out some of the things that you want for yourself? You have a roof over your head, you have food, you have clothes, you have everything that you need. You're not going to get everything that you want. So us telling them no sometimes, like even when I just said about my daughter, yeah, we can buy you a car, but you need to have some skin in the game. And if you're willing to save a certain amount, then we're willing to help you to get a car. If not, then we're not going to do it. And we didn't buy a car. And now at 20, she doesn't have a car. But those are decisions that you have to make because you're going to be driving this car. And I do feel like sometimes when it comes to children, we give them everything, they don't appreciate it. They tear it up. It's like, okay, it's no big deal. Like even me letting my daughter drive my car, it's like they don't care about things that they don't have to pay for. And so just telling them no sometimes, even when you are able to do it, like, no, we're not going to go to Starbucks. No, I'm not ordering DoorDash. No, I'm not buying the car. No, I'm not getting the game and I'm not I'm not getting the Roblox bucks or whatever for you. Just telling them no helps with the grit too, because now they have to figure out how they're going to get some of the things that they want. And so that's one thing that we did. We didn't say yes to everything. We tell them no.
I love that. And it's a complete sentence. Because my daughter be like, but why? We be like, nah, no. Let me go to some of these comments. I see they have been so good. Let's see. Dennis Bragan says it's about breaking generational curses. Deborah Wynn says supporting the children's passion with entrepreneurship. Absolutely. The school I sent my children to helped them become independent thinkers. All right. Yolanda says, what if she charges her son rent and what if she charges her son for rent and put it up for him for savings and not use for herself? That's what I hope she's doing. It's like you saying, hey, no, seeing her, that's not what she's doing. But just like the idea of that saying like, no, you're going to pay rent. And then maybe at the end of his senior year being like, here's your nest egg for you to go to college with, right? Whatever that is, $10,000 or, Black Lexicon says for the particular parent, I would suggest to first find out what talent her son is pursuing to support that. Absolutely. Dennis Bragan says, unless you create an LLC and employ your kids and start a Roth IRA for them, then charge them rent for prime real estate you own. It could work. Okay. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Anonymous says you can't be living in here for free. What's wrong with you? Of course. He said, I think it's different for men and women. Yeah, I just think you guys, such good comments. I love all of this. I could literally go on and on. He says the boys never stay for free. So I guess is there a difference between, before we go to this last video, is there a difference between, and you can really just shake your head, yes or no, is there a difference between the way you rear the boys and the girls? Shake your head, yes and no. There's a difference. Is there a difference between the way you rear? Are you tougher on the boys than you are on the girls? You're not tougher on the boys than is it equal? Is it just approach?
Can
All
I-
right, tell me, Dominique, what?
So what I found was with my daughter, initially, my kids are 5 years apart. You know the saying, we raise our girls and we
Mm-hmm.
baby our boys. I
Yep.
think that was something that happened. You know, it was like, okay, you have to be able to take care of yourself. You have to be able to do this. But then when it came to him, I was easier until I really thought about it. Like, he needs to be able to take care of himself. You need to learn how to wash dishes and clean up and things like that as well. So once I recognized it, and it was funny because my daughter brought it to my attention, like, you know, you hear these things, but it's like, well, he don't have to wash dishes and he don't have to do this. And, you know, and it's like, we put a lot of pressure on the girls. There is a difference. We put the pressure on the girls to, you have to take care of yourself. You're going to have to take care of a household, but they have to take care of a household too. Absolutely. And we want to position our boys that if they're not with somebody, that you're able to take care of yourself too, so that you don't have to jump from relationship to relationship because you can't cook or you can't clean or you can't wash dishes. So I do think it was a difference. I know for me, there was definitely a difference, just being accountable and being real. There was a difference. I raised my daughter. And then, and I was babying my son until my daughter, I have conversations with my kids when they were coming up, and I would ask them, what am I doing well? And what can I improve? And I really listened to what they said that I can improve. I wasn't really worried about what I was doing well. I want to know how I can be a better parent. And when that was brought to my attention, you know, then I'm like, okay, let me look at this differently, from a different perspective, because my son needs to be able to take care of himself too.
Yeah. What about you, Marlo? What do you say? I saw you shaking your head and nodding.
Yeah, I think I was probably just easier on him, more like a safety thing, right? He was inside, he was into video games, and so that was safe. He wasn't outside, he wasn't running with kids that I didn't know or kids that were doing wild stuff. But my daughter, because I was a girl, because I did go through the things that I went through, I was a little bit more hawkish with my middle daughter, with knowing where she was and making sure she was busy and making, you know, she didn't have, I would say, the leisure time that my son had, right? She was always busy, always being pushed. Come on, we're going to do this. Come to work with me. You need to see this. And he had more leisure time. So that the difference between them is I saw safety in him having leisure time and him having everything that he needed at home. But he did have to cook, and he is a chef. So he, you know, he does all the cooking and the cleaning and all of that stuff. But I definitely created a nest for him. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm glad he flew on out the nest, because it was cushy over there for him. But he wanted to be a man and take care of himself. So for that, I'm proud.
Yeah. What about you, Renee? What do you say? You said, I saw you shaking your head yes to being tougher on. Did you say tougher on the boy?
I only have one. So yeah. So
Yep.
I had to be a little tougher on him so he can get it quick and know what he has to do. So, but he cooks and he cleans better than I clean and all of that. So all the things with that. So, you know, I love that for him, and just knowing that he has that independence.
Yeah, I love that. What I didn't get to say, y'all, was we got on and Lala was here. I meant to say happy Black History Month. It is Black History Month, y'all. We gonna be blackety black around here. Just so you know, every single day I'm gonna try to come with some type of black fact. And today, before we go, Marlo has a black history moment. You got it? You ready?
I do have it. And
Ready.
so I learned this morning, well, I knew already, but the Kentucky Derby, y'all, it used to be for us. It used to be a thing that we dominated as jockeys and horse handlers. The first ever and several subsequent Kentucky Derbies were won by formerly enslaved Black people in America. The first one was Oliver Lewis. He won in 1875, y'all. That is 7 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. And it goes on and on and on. Isaac Murphy, Jimmy Winkfield, Willie Sims, Alonzo Lonnie Clayton, James Soup Perkins. Actually, Isaac Murphy won 3 of them. He was the highest paid athlete of his time. Imagine being the highest paid athlete in the whole of everything, and you are a formerly enslaved person who won the Kentucky Derby in 1884, 1890, and 1891. And of course, y'all know what happened. Reconstruction was over. Jim Crow came. They said, no more Negroes on the horseback. We're going to erase y'all from history. And thankfully, there is a beautiful woman Can't think of her name right now. I learned about her on The View, but she actually uncovered all of this history back in the 1980s, found out about it, used her restaurant as like a historical landmark that would honor these jockeys. So now, whenever we think about the Kentucky Derby, we think about those hats. Think about the men who made it what it is today and who were subsequently erased from history, because that's what our beautiful great nation does. So honoring the Kentucky Derby. I used to be one of those people like, I don't know why y'all trying to go to the Kentucky Derby. That ain't for us. It's for us, y'all. I might end up with one of them big A hats on, woo woo wooing for horses, because it's ours. It is ours. It is ours. We coming for our things in 2026, y'all.
That's right. I love that. Thank you for that fact. Let me know in the chat. Did you know that? Did you know that the Kentucky Derby was ours? You know what? Everything was ours. Everything has been ours. It always has been. You can't tell me that, like, Black people just have had their hand in every single thing, everything. And then somebody comes along and goes, "Oh, that is great. Let me take it." Right? So I'm not surprised, and I'm not surprised. Dare I say I'm not surprised. But yes, happy Black History Month. We're gonna be blackety black around here, supporting Black people, having Black conversations. That's what we do here. So make sure that you text Queens to 87948 if you want notifications for when we go live and we're blackety black. Make sure you do it. All right, so we're gonna wind this thing down because we went over time. And so thank you, Marlo, for that fact. We are gonna wind down and get into our final thoughts. I guess my final thought would my final question for you all would be, if you could tell this mother one thing, or mothers like her or mindsets like her, what would it be? What would be the one thing that you would tell them? And try to keep these answers to 45 seconds or less. And yeah, Marlo, I'll start with you. What would you tell this young lady?
I would say, sis, those bills are yours. They were yours before he got that job, and they will be yours when he moves out and goes on with his life. Do not put the burden of your life and your survival on the backs of your children. It is unfair. And it is not teaching them anything. It is probably actually driving a wedge between you and him. It is probably poorly shaping the way that he will feel about women in his life in the future when they talk to him about money, when they talk to him about providing and things of that nature, because you are leaving an indelible mark on his soul as you have decided to go to social media and say, I'm making this boy pay me $500 a month because yada, yada, yada. And what do y'all think? It's none of our businesses. So the second thing I would tell you is get social media out your business. Make these decisions with your kids. Make sound decisions. Don't involve random strangers in these very private family matters, but explain to them why you think this should be and why this is a house rule. And it probably will go a lot further towards making sure that you have a healthy whole relationship with your son. And if you're looking for me, that's a little Instagram handle on the bottom. Y'all can follow me over there. And that's it. Happy Black History Month, y'all.
Indeed. And it's actually her name backwards and forward. So just spell Marlo backwards and then forwards. Yes. Okay. All right. Make sure you follow Marlo. She's such a smart lady. One of my good girlfriends. She is reporting news. You can catch her with articles all over the web. Movies that she's made and that we've made together. So make sure that you check out Marlo. Renee, what about you? What would you tell this young lady?
I would tell her to relax and to love your baby, love him and let him know that he's loved, because again, what she's embedding in him, in his mind, it will reflect in his relationships with other women. And we need more kinder and respectful men. And that starts with the mother. And so, love your baby. I'm Renee Williams. I'm a clinical strategist. I have 2 health equity platforms there for you to check out to get more resources and information for the community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Make sure that you check it out. It's equitrials.com and send, I don't know if they can see it. I'd have to send
Cyclesync.com.
cycle
Birth,
cyclesync.com.
birth control, period tracking platform.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Dominique, what about you? What are you telling this young lady?
I would tell her and I'm echo both ladies, just love your child and allow your child to be a child as long as they can. And you can teach your children responsibility without giving them full adult responsibility. I would also tell her to get counseling, because there was something in her past or something she's been through that would make her feel so aggressive about it. Like she's very aggressive about it. So maybe, tapping into some of those unhealed traumas that are causing you to feel like your son is supposed to take care of you, that your son is supposed to provide for you. Because like Marlo said earlier, your son is not your partner. He's your son. And if he's doing well and he's doing something with his life, allow him to be comfortable. You can teach him responsibility without giving him adult responsibility. So again, I am Dominique Morgan. You can find me on all social media platforms at the Whitmore Group. And you can go to our website at thewhitmoregroup.com, and we can help you purchase anywhere in the United States.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Make sure that you follow Dominique Morgan. Really, all of our new queens are so lit. I just love them. Aren't y'all enjoying our new queens? They just got here, but I feel like I just love them. Well, so welcome. I'll say that. I'll keep saying that. Welcome, queens. All right. And me bringing up the rear, I would say, get you a boyfriend, boo. Get you a husband. Get you somebody that can help take care of you. Because I know sometimes it's so hard for Black women. I know that we don't have a lot of safe places where we are taken care of by men. We don't know what that looks like. We've never seen what it looks like because maybe our fathers didn't take care of us. And so, we grow up in these situations where we're uber independent, and having children young doesn't help. Actually, it puts you in poverty a lot faster. There's so many things that can happen with young pregnancies and teen pregnancies where you kind of like are behind the eight ball just because because you are young and you are responsible for another human being. So I can understand where it feels like they get old enough. It's like, you need to take care of me too, and you need to contribute to this house too. Sis, go get you a man to take care of you. There are men out here. There are men out here that will, if you can get your spirit together, that will take care of you. So those are my final thoughts on that. Shout out to last weekend or last Friday, we were at the All Black National Convention digital. I was so proud to host. I've been hosting all weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and here we are again today. So a good sister is a little tired, but I am so it was such a good place. I see some people that were at the convention or the conference, the digital conference, in the chat. Shout out to y'all showing up this morning. Again, we love y'all. We love that you are here with us. So those are my thoughts. But I wanted to let you know, if you are interested in telling your story and launching a podcast this year, I want to help 10 people do that. So go to MissBlackHollywood.net. That's MSBLACK Hollywood.net. I have a workshop coming up. It's a 2-day workshop. It's 2 days, February 27th and 28th, where I'm going to help you figure out that voice, figure out that story, and we're going to put it outside. We're going to put it up on the internet, because people are leveraging their, if nothing else, God is giving us all a story. And so I encourage you to use that story to leverage your life. People make money every day, off their stories. So make sure that you are also doing that, because we all have one. So with that being said, y'all, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. We appreciate you. Again, if you are interested in knowing when we go live or getting notifications for that, text Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948, and you will receive those. We are here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're also on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us on the go. So go to Spotify.com, go ahead and leave us good reviews. Let people know that we are lit every single day so other people can also join us and listen. So yeah, I'm Miss Black Hollywood. It has been a pleasure serving you today through conversation, and we will see you tomorrow. Let them know, ladies. Good night.